The Diablo team just published a brand new video about Endgame for Diablo 4. Let's go take a look and react live. Alright, so this is the video. We're gonna check it out right now. Oh, I don't know if you saw that right off the rip. I just want to point out. That's Andariel. I think we saw this in another trailer previously, but I just want to point out that Andariel is right there. I think that's really cool.
We're really excited about getting this game into players' hands. Letting them experience this massive...
Yeah, I'm really excited to play this too. This I logged like 70 hours in over the entire beta, and I thought it was absolutely awesome. There were a lot of issues, but like, I don't want to get into that now, but like, there's room for improvement, I'll put it that way, but like, that's a good thing.
World.
A main cornerstone of D4 is play your way. As a player continues to advance through the story and into the endgame, they'll unlock a ton of brand new activities that provide meaningful progression, no matter their playstyle.
Okay, tell me.
They'll be able to keep progressing in the narrative of the game. Alongside that, the whole team has worked on crafting a variety of different experiences players can pursue.
We're going to have an entire world of Sanctuary for our players to offer. There's going to never be an absence of something to do.
So all three of these people said exactly the same thing without saying anything.
The player has finished.
They had a post the other day that they posted, and it also didn't really say anything whatsoever. It was, in some cases, they will carry over between seasons. Okay, that doesn't answer that question at all, though. That, what? Answer? Answer check? Answer check? So they also didn't really give us an answer here. These answers are not very good. No offense, Wowhead, but...
The campaign. There's a lot more game to go and participate in. They gain access to a special, what we call Capstone dungeon that they have to complete. Once they're able to finish this Capstone dungeon, they're going to gain access to the first world tier.
As you complete the world tier, it will open up the opportunity for you to go into your next world tier. That involves unlocking powerful loot, new items, and more advantages for your player to have a better opportunity at endgame.
Whether you're a fan of dungeons, PvP, or just roaming around the world, there's a way to continue your Diablo adventure.
We saw that
long after
in the beta, though, because we got into World Tier 2.
As your character continues to grow in power, you'll start with the skill tree and expand out into the Paragon system.
A lot of the choices the players make are
the skill trees were the skill trees in this game were actually really, really good. I thought that the design of them was very reminiscent of Diablo 2, but in a Path of Exile style. However, it was not nearly as in-depth as Path of Excel sheets, and I think that's a good thing because Path of Excel sheets is way too much homework. I don't want to do that much homework to just play a character, right? Like, does that make sense? Like, I want to be able to just pick up and somewhat play and figure it out, but like maybe after one YouTube video, but that's like a whole constant, you need a build calculator, there's like a thing you download. It was just, I don't know. I think a lot of people are slamming Diablo for not having this crazy system, but I really like that it's simplified. I think that it's really good. I'm hoping that the Paragon system expands on the current simplicity, but doesn't get too in the weeds.
Associated with those skills. The Paragon Boards place where we're allowed to have a lot more depth, a lot more customization, many more.
Oh, okay. So, wait, let's see.
With those skills.
So we could see that they literally add like physical stats, and there's also glyphs on the side.
The Paragon Boards place where we're allowed to have a lot more depth.
What was that? There was like a legendary one. I can't actually freeze frame it. We're gonna be those people. Cheap shot. You deal 5% increased damage for each nearby enemy that is crowd controlled up to 25%. Okay, so there's like legendary nodes in here that have additional effects that are like, there's like more legendary items essentially inside of the Paragon board. Oh, wow. Okay.
More depth, a lot more customization, many more options as you go.
Interesting.
You can rotate the board, so you can choose a different path if you're like, I want to do more strength-based things.
So it connects from the bottom, right? As you can see, we're building from the bottom of the board up, and they rotated the board, so they were coming in on this left-hand side over here, but now they're entering from this side because they just rotated. Oh, that's so fascinating.
Things, right? I want these particular boons or glyphs. You can chart your path through it, and they're really a way for you to keep expanding your character.
Oh, and they have magical nodes as well. That's interesting.
Similar to the Paragon Boards is the Codex of Power. It's an in-game system that holds the aspects related to the character. You are able to complete a dungeon, and they will have a chance to drop an aspect that you can pick up.
And what this allows players.
So we saw this in the beta. We were able to clear a whole bunch of dungeons and get these aspects for the codexes, and then we could imprint these onto gear.
To do is take items they're finding in the world and make them more powerful, turn them into legendary items.
It's really special to discover what kind of playstyle really means the most to you. Every part of Sanctuary is...
I want to know if these dungeons are going to get harder and harder, because I thought the game was easy, not in a bad way, right? Like, I was a level 25, but we had our character pretty geared out and spec'd out, but like, I hope that the dungeons get harder, not just more health, right? Does that make sense?
It's fulfilling and satisfying. Dungeons in particular are really close to my heart. Nightmare dungeons are going to give the players the opportunity to experience a dungeon that they might have already experienced in their past playthroughs. They'll enter the dungeon with a found sigil that alters the playstyle and the intensity of the dungeon.
Oh, okay. So like maps, they're basically maps.
Additional objectives, and then they also have affixes, which add a degree of difficulty for you and your group to work through.
Path of Exile, right? I played some, and I know that there is some type of affix map system in PD2 as well that you can like add and change map affixes and whatnot, and I'll probably have something on the screen playing right now, but there's a very similar system to it in this game, hopefully, and that means that we're able to get limitless combinations of types of mobs that we're looking to fight, right? So I think that that might actually be really helpful.
One of my favorite affixes that you can find in Nightmare Dungeons is actually called Hellgate. Occasionally, these portals will open up throughout the area that will just pour out different monsters that aren't native to that region for you to also be dealing with while you're trying to handle everything else inside the dungeon.
Yes.
There's over 120 dungeons to play through and find in Diablo 4, and any one of them can become a nightmare dungeon by finding a nightmare sigil and then using it to activate the nightmare version of that dungeon space.
Everything's a little darker, everything's more difficult. It's going to add a little bit of a twist of flavor on your particular dungeon.
Okay. I think that that is going to be really cool. I think that that's going to be a nice endgame loop to be able to mess around with these sigils. I just hope it's easy to use and it's not like farming for the keys for an Uber, right? Like, that was kind of a pain in the ass, and I don't want to have to farm hard for that to do one, and then farm another 8 hours just to get one key, and then, or one map, or whatever sigil, and then do another one. Like, right? Like, that doesn't make sense.
There's some targeted activities in Diablo 4 that suit what you're feeling in the mood for.
The Forces of Hell are starting to have more influence in certain parts of Sanctuary in the vast interconnected overworld that we experience. And as the players are going into Helltide Areas, they're going to find even more powerful monsters. And by killing them, they'll be able to gain these special shards they can take to go and use to purchase these big rewards that are available at these.
So if you go into these Helltide Areas, right, Helltide Areas have a special blood rose or some type of rose drop. I don't remember what it was called, but we can't upgrade. You can't re-roll legendary gear, or yeah, you can't re-roll legendary gear, like secondary effects without these blood roses, and they're only available in these Helltides. So these do serve another purpose for like crafting and like speccing your gear.
Caches are found littered throughout Helltide Areas.
The sky darkens and the rivers run red, meteors fall from the sky.
This very much reminds me of the Blood Moon in Breath of the Wild. I think that that's like a really cool concept to bring to Diablo almost, and add like a terror zone that's like reactive, if that makes sense. Like, oh, this one area is now a thing, and then it's gone. I really like the world events. I think this is another really cool like world event type system.
And the monsters get harder. We really want to create new experiences for the players. There's one I really like called Whispers of the Dead, which you get from the Tree of Whispers. The Tree of Whispers is grim and a little gruesome, but it's also something mystically haunting and kind of beautiful.
The tree has a little bit of a grudge against our players and it would like for them to go serve its needs. So you're going to go serve these bounties, gather different rewards, different items, and bring them back to the tree in hopes that it can exchange you something really meaningful.
Maybe you're going to go to the Fractured Peaks and take out some werewolves that are rampaging in the town.
So they had like caches. I don't know if you saw that, right? So you can see here, these are like little caches and you open it up and it has like random drops. I think that that's kind of cool. They had these for quests as well. So they have like a bounty system that you're able to do on top of your other quests, I guess, so to stack rewards.
To the Fractured Peaks and take out some werewolves that are rampaging in a town. They're contained activities that you can do alone or in a group. We really wanted to create variety for people to be able to spend time where they wanted to in the world. It's very cool the way it's been put together.
I just want to comment on the set that she's sitting on, right? Like the backgrounds that they did for this. The set piece, dude, is absolutely bonkers. Look at that. There's like this stained glass windows. There's like skulls. Dude, it looks so good. They did such a good job on designing it. Look, it's so nice. Wow. I'm impressed.
To be able to spend time where they wanted to in the world. It's very cool the way it's been put together, and I can't wait for people to see it, to be honest.
Okay, here we go. This is the big one.
On the world of Sanctuary. And there are parts of that world that we call the Fields of Hatred, where Lilith's presence in Sanctuary has begun to seep through and manifest these poisonous areas throughout the world. When players go to these regions, they get to engage in player versus player conflict.
These offer opportunities for the player to collect shards. But there is a little bit of a catch. In order to get these shards back to town, you will need to purify them. Other players will definitely know that you're attempting to purify your shards, so you'd better be prepared to fight if you're going to be playing any PvP, and be prepared that you...
This is like... This is like Division, right? This is like the Division game, right? The Tom Clancy's Division, where you go into the dark zone and you have to extract materials and you gotta call a helicopter and other people know and they can betray you, and like, this is kind of cool. I'm actually...
might lose some stuff in the meantime.
Once they've got the purified shards, they can take these, go back to nearby towns to sell them, and then use that to buy a whole bunch of like interesting cosmetic items and rewards.
It's a place for people who really love PvP and want to still get loot. And
PvP now has loot. Holy... This is dope. This also reminds me of like honor kills back in the day from like WoW. Obviously it's a little different, right? Because you're not just killing people in the open. But it reminds me of how you used to be able to exchange your points or whatever, or you could get gear from like just PvPing and it served a purpose. And now I feel like Diablo PvP actually serves a purpose, because it was always cool, right? I've always loved Diablo PvP. I think it's fun, but like, it never really was rewarding or gave you anything. But now that there's actually like a kickback to the system, I'm super excited. I can't wait to see all the PvP builds, that like the just PvP builds that are gonna come up. Oh my god, this is gonna be so cool.
still increase their character's power. If that's the way they want to play, they can.
Launch is just the beginning. One of the things we're really focused on is creating a living, breathing set of updates for players to engage with after the game has gone live.
It's really just going to be a way to keep coming back and experiencing more Diablo 4 in fresh ways.
We're really eager to hear all of your experiences and just enjoy the entire story with you all.
Whoa, that is another world boss. We have not seen this yet. That is another world boss. It looks like this is also in the Crucible. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? Like, I'm gonna have some footage on screen of Ashava and this, but like side by side. But like, I think these are the same, right? I think these are both in the Crucible. That's interesting. Oh, that's cool. Damn. Listen, I know Lilith is like the dommy mommy now, but like, Andariel has had those big mommy milkers since the early 2000s. Just Google it, dude. You'll never unsee it. Just look it up, I promise.